going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got a mailbag coming up on today's show. We go live 2 times a week, and one of our segments is where it's just me and you chopping it up about the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to start off with the topic of conversation in Vikings land right now. This question coming in from Joe Burrow, number 9, saying, what chance do you give Joe Burrow being a Viking? As it stands right now, if you guys don't know, Burrow had a press conference earlier this week where he seemed incredibly deflated. He was saying he's not really having too much fun anymore playing the game of football. Then Schefter said a lot of league front offices were taking notice of Burrow making these comments. So clearly there's some rumblings in the NFL about a potential Joe Burrow trade. But what chance do you give Joe Burrow being a Viking? Listen, I still think it's a 1% chance that Burrow gets dealt at all. But if Burrow does request a trade, I will say, I think the Vikings are at the top of his list, where I think they check every box, where you have funny me saying this, but you have an elite offensive-minded head coach, you have an elite weapon, you have an elite defense. Like Burrow would hit the NFC and be the best quarterback in the conference by a wide margin. Like Matthew Stafford's great, but Father Time is going to eventually hit him on the shoulder. So heading into the next year, like if it's the 2026 Vikings and we got Joe Burrow, I think we would legitimately be like Vegas might have the Vikings having the second or third best odds to win the entire thing. I think it would be that special. So what chance do I give? Right now, less than 1% chance. But if Burrow requests a trade and he says I'm never playing for the Bengals again, 50%, then he ends up being a Minnesota Vikings, which is, pretty fun for Vikings fans. But T-Sugar saying absolutely we should be all in to get Burrow. I would rather get a top-tier quarterback to build around than try to build a roster and patch the QB position with the end-of-life model like we have done for the last 20 years. And 100%, T, like that's been the Vikings' motto is, no matter what year it's been when the Vikings have had success, they've always gone the motto of having like a really, really complete roster with a patchwork at the quarterback position. Like 2017, the most successful Viking season over the last, decade was when they had Case Keenum and the best defense in the league. Like, when was the last time the Vikings had a top 5 quarterback in the league? It was probably Brett Favre, 2009, maybe Culpepper back in 2004. But besides that, that's it. Like, that's the last time the Vikings have gotten top 5 quarterback play in the league. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But T, I'm with you. Do whatever it takes to go get Joe Burrow. It will be awesome. Lego fellow coming in saying, would Burrow be the best QB in Vikings franchise history? 110%. No doubt about it. He would put up historic numbers with this offense. He would be a 5,000-yard passer every year. He would throw for 40 touchdowns. He would just be a walking 5,000, 40, and 10 every single season, winning 10-plus games, going to NFC title games. Obviously, barring health, like injury history is a huge concern with Burrow, but I would rather take the risk in terms of being like, I would rather risk Burrow being healthy and have that be the biggest wild card than the wild card about the quarterback position as a whole. So would it be the best in Vikings franchise history? 110%. The Lost Sound, what's going on? Do you really think Burrow would stay healthy behind our offensive line? Listen, I can't definitely say that, but I think he would have a better chance of staying healthy behind our offensive line than the Bengals offensive line. And the Vikings offensive line on paper, Christian Darrisaw, top 5 left tackle. Brian O'Neill, he's been a top 10 right tackle for the last 5 years in the league. You just spent $88 million on a right guard. You just spent a first-round pick on a left guard. You maybe have to go get a new center for Joe, but he would have a lot better of an offensive line than what he's had in Cincinnati, where they have just been the worst pass-blocking offensive line in the league by a wide margin since he's got there. Now, would he stay healthy? Who knows? Anything can happen. But, again, I would take that risk on Burrow being healthy compared to the risk of just like taking flyers at like a quarterback position, like a second-round pick for Mac Jones. Would you rather do a second-round pick for Mac Jones or send 5 firsts for Joe Burrow? I would rather put my nuts on the table and say F them picks and go get Joe Cool. Reed Southern saying, do you think instead of Joe Burrow, we could trade for Matthew Stafford? This is only if they don't win the Super Bowl this year. I don't think a Matthew Stafford trade is likely whatsoever. Because, why would Sean McVay want to send Stafford to his protege, Kevin O'Connell? Like, obviously, Stafford would be a great choice for the Minnesota Vikings. But in terms of, like what's more likely, it's Joe Burrow. It's not even close, and Joe Burrow is not even that likely. But between those two, give me Burrow any day of the week. But We ask this question for you guys a lot. I love the answers we get here. Name a random Vikings player. And add a caveat to this. Give me the year for the player. This guy's not a random, but he's my favorite, like, singular Vikings defensive player year ever. 2017 Zavier Rhodes. You guys go like 2009 Brett Favre, like 2012 Adrian Peterson. 2010 Percy Harvin could be a random one. But if you guys could, or not 2010 Percy, like 2014 or 13 Percy Harvin. But hey, you guys drop a random Vikings player in that year down below in the comments section. Now we'll get to more of you guys' questions here in a second, but I got to tell you guys about a shaving company that's sponsoring today's show, and that is Harry's. Now, for a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. Now, Harry's completely changed my life the first time I shaved my face with their brand new razors at Harry's Plus, because old razors would sometimes go way too dull, way too fast. It would also irritate my neck, and I wasn't having a good time shaving my face. But now I look forward to it every single time, and that's because of Harry's Plus. And Harry's Plus, it's not just a razor. It's the centerpiece of a full grooming lineup from shave gel to body wash, all designed with the same attention to detail. And everything delivered from Harry's goes straight to your front door from Harry's own factory to your bathroom. So there's no middlemen, no markups, just premium gear delivered on your schedule. So for a limited time, check them out. Our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer. And after you purchase, I ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports. What's going on, Vikings fan for life? Saying what are Jordan Addison's chances of playing on Sunday night, and what happened to him? Apparently he's dealing with an Achilles injury. I'd probably go 50-50 right now. I mean, anytime you're back-to-back days with a DMP, probably not looking likely. And also when you're dealing with an Achilles injury, like this Vikings training staff has been almost notoriously overprotective on injuries under the Kevin O'Connell era, especially with the Vikings being 5-8. Like, are they going to risk Jordan Addison potentially tearing that Achilles? Absolutely not. Also, if they're going to use him as trade bait this offseason, like, they definitely don't want to risk it. So I said 50%. I'd probably go 10% actually. I would be stunned if Addison plays this weekend, which could leave opportunities for guys like Ty Felton stepping up. Jalen Naylor obviously have to step up. And also, how about Justin Jefferson? You get 18 to football this weekend. Abby Skoll saying, take away the QBs. Who has a better roster? The 2022 Bengals or the 2025 Vikings? That's a fantastic question. If you take away quarterback, I think it's the 2025 Vikings by a wide margin. That 2022 Bengals team had a horrible offensive line. They had a decent run game with Joe Mixon. They had a pretty good defense with Lou Anarumo calling the shots over there, and they had like Cam Taylor-Britt had an awesome year. But I still would think I would take the 2025 Vikings defense over that Bengals defense. And then offensively, yes, you still had Burrow, or you still had Chase, you still had Higgins, but with the Vikings, it's you got a better offensive line, you got a way better play caller too, like KOC, even though I got my thoughts on him, him with Burrow would be significantly better than than Burrow with Zach Taylor, for example. So take away the quarterbacks, I got to go with the 2025 Vikes. Bart saying, do you want the Vikings to tank or keep winning and have a chance to make the playoffs? Because I want us to tank for a draft pick. Listen, I was saying team tank literally before the Commanders game. I'm fully off that now. I'll walk that take back gladly because I'm thinking about this from the Vikings perspective. Who cares? The difference between getting the 10th pick and the 17th pick. I'm saying that now and I might regret it. But the Vikings it's not like they're in a spot to get culture wins since you're already in the 4th year of the Kevin O'Connell regime. But you just got to develop the young quarterback. And I think if you would somehow, win out, even if you miss the playoffs, that would mean J.J. McCarthy's playing some good ball down the stretch. He's playing in some big-time moments. Listen, every game from here on out for the Vikes, if J.J. goes out there and wins, that's a big-time win. If you go to Dallas and win, that's a huge win for McCarthy. Even if you go to New York and beat the Giants, that's a pretty good win. And then obviously you got the Packers and Lions at home. Those would be good wins as well. So this is more about not the Vikings making the playoffs because they have less than a 1% chance to do that. It's mainly about just McCarthy getting real in-game reps. And the Vikings also they can't draft anyway, so who the hell cares about a draft pick? T Sugar is saying, I'm on team win We're not going to benefit from the picks with the way we draft. Do you see us spending the money to keep Addison next year? I think there's no chance, even if the Vikings don't trade Addison, that they pay him next offseason. I would be very, very shocked. Now, unless like the Vikings front office is thinking like, hey, what if we pay Addison early, get ahead of the market? Maybe they could do that, especially with – actually, I take that back. Because if I'm running this from the Vikings front office side of things, like Addison, he's had the off-the-field stuff. He got suspended for a drive early on in the season. He's had a bad year for his standard, a lot of drops, just also his separation rate is an all-time low. So maybe the Vikings, if they're saying, like, hey, Addison, we'll give you 3 for 65 or something like that, like 21, 22 a year, maybe like the Vikings end up doing that, but I would be shocked. The only way they trade Addison, I think it's if it's for like a blockbuster trade up in the draft to get like a Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love or something like that. But I would still be shocked if they traded Addison, or I'd be shocked if they paid Addison. I think they might just have them or have him ride it out. If McCarthy balls out the rest of the season, would you still want to trade for Joe Burrow? Absolutely. Listen, McCarthy could go and average 250 and 2, win the rest of the games, and I would still want Joe Burrow. And honestly, I think from the Viking side of things, like if you want to sweeten your trade package, the best way you could sweeten it is if McCarthy ends up playing good football. Because then, like, what if McCarthy, hey, primetime stage, Bengals people will be watching, Bengals fans will be watching this Sunday night. McCarthy goes out there against Dallas, does what he did against the Washington Commanders. He plays good ball. Like, his trade value will go up. So, yeah, I mean, no matter what happens, I'm still all in on Joe Burrow. I don't care what Vikings or what JJ does for the rest of the year. Give me Joe Burrow to Minnesota. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Shout out to all the real ones, and we'll get on out of here. Shout out to all of you guys. As always, let's go Vikes.